Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Mark Clayton, the president of Phenix. Mark, how you doing?
I'm great, Kemp. How are you this morning?
I'm good. It's good to talk to you. It's kind of bittersweet. We're going to talk about what's going to happen 10 days from now. You announced your retirement, and you're actually going to say goodbye to the flooring industry, right?
I am. After almost 37 years of what's been a great career and a great industry, I'm going to retire and spend more time with my family.
Let's go through your history real quick. You got started in this business with Shaw and spent 12 years there. Then you went over to Beaulieu of America and spent 8 years there. And then over to J&J and spent a couple of years there. And then at Milliken, you got P&L responsibilities, spent a couple of years there. And then went over with Farr and Phenix. And you take the time you spent there with when it was called Farr and Phenix, and then over to when Mannington bought it, that's a total of 11 years.
That's right.
So how did you end up focusing your career in the flooring business?
Well, it was not planned. I went to a small engineering school outside of Atlanta. I was fortunate and blessed that Albert Shaw, who was in charge of recruiting at Shaw Industries at the time, came to my school and actually was interviewing. He typically would be interviewing for engineers, and he was looking for sales trainees, which was actually something I had a lot of interest in. And so I was fortunate enough to be able to go into Shaw's sales training program in an industry that I absolutely knew nothing about. I grew up 90 miles from Dalton in the Atlanta area, but was not familiar with the industry or the category really. And so I've always been appreciative for Albert giving me the opportunity and bringing me into the industry.
Yeah, as I mentioned with Milliken, that's when you first started having total responsibility for the business. What's the toughest part of being the leader? Because you've been doing that now for 14 years.
The toughest part, it's probably just being able to adapt to change. We've seen just tremendous change in this industry over the years, whether it's consolidation. When I first started, there were just a vast number of carpet manufacturers who have since either consolidated or are no longer with us. Certainly changes in the yarn category. Some that we've experienced even in recent years, past couple of years. So it's just being able to adapt to those changes. Certainly hard surfaces playing a much bigger role in the floor covering business now. So I would probably caption it that way.
You know, as I look back at your last stint here with Phenix and thinking about some of the lieutenants you've had that have moved on, you had one that went on to Floor and Decor, and then you had one now that's president of Tarkett Residential. So I guess it's also finding and retaining good lieutenants, right?
Yeah. If you want to talk about what makes a successful business, starts with surrounding yourself with really good people. And I was fortunate enough when I first came here, you'll recall the company at the time was Dobbs Mills, and I was able to take over a role from my predecessors who had built a really good base of business. And from there, we were able to, because of the investments that the Clayton family and the Farr business was willing to make into the business, we were able to recruit and hire some really talented people. Most everyone we had on our team were industry veterans from a myriad of companies. And that gave us a unique opportunity to bring a lot of different points of view into the business, and I think played a key role in building Phenix into what it is today. So I'm always quick to credit our success with the great team that we've had over the years.
As you look back and you think about the mentors you've had, who would you say are a few of your mentors?
Yeah, well, it's hard to narrow it down to just one. Certainly, if I had to mention just one, I would say that Ralph Bowe has played the biggest role in mentoring me and the leadership he provided, and the time I was fortunate to work with him. And certainly there have been other people, Carl Buchart, Julius Shaw, who was my first regional vice president in my sales role. So I hate to leave anybody out, but those are a few that just come to mind.
And as you look back on these 30 plus years, what are some of your fondest memories?
I would say, first of all, we already touched on the fact that, that I was hired by Shaw and was able to get into their training program. Certainly not being familiar with the industry, that provided a great foundation for me to begin my career. And then moving on to Beaulieu, I was given more responsibility there. Always appreciated Carl and Ralph and the opportunities they provided for me there. But certainly the biggest being the opportunity I had to lead the Phenix business, and appreciative of the Clayton family and for the confidence they put in me there. The past 3 years, as you know, have probably been the most challenging in terms of business conditions and just outside pressures we've experienced. It was ironic that that the Mannington acquisition happened right at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. But to be able to end my career as part of the Mannington family is just I guess a cherry on top. It's been just a tremendous experience to work with the Campbell family and be able to firsthand, you hear when you're not a Mannington employee, you hear about the great culture there, the great family environment, just to experience firsthand the tremendous support they've given to me and our team members and our customers through, again, some challenging times these recent years has been probably the most notable experience I've been able to enjoy.
Yeah, if I look back on all this, granted, Shaw was a publicly traded company when you were there, but obviously very family oriented. And then everybody else, all the other companies you work for have been family owned businesses, right?
Yeah, and I've really enjoyed that, just the ability to have ownership that was willing to invest in what we wanted to do, could support the vision and support, again, our efforts to build a great team has been something I really can't overstate. So I've been, again, blessed to be able to work with some great families, and I'm very appreciative of that.
So you and Diane, I need to mention that you're actually younger than me, so you're retiring early. Actually, I think you have your 60th birthday here coming up soon. So what are you and Diane going to do next?
You're right. I'm reaching that point in my life where I'm very fortunate to be able to retire at the age I am. Diane, actually, she retired from her career 4 years ago when our first granddaughter was born. Certainly, we're looking forward to spending much more time together. We have 3 grandchildren now. We've been wanting to do more travel together and just pursue some of the hobbies that we've got interest in. So something that we've been talking about for a while, and I'm just, again, blessed that it's come to fruition now and have the opportunity to do this, and just looking forward to it. And I can't overstate the fact that I've been really blessed to be a part of this industry. The friendships that I've made both with customers and associates that I've had the pleasure of working with have been incredible. Consider myself a blessed man.
Yeah, well, we're going to miss you in the business, Mark. I just want to tell you, you've been a great leader. You helped move some brands forward and left your mark. So congratulations on that, and appreciate you spending time with our listeners. Again, been talking to Mark Clayton, who's retiring at the end of the month, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FortALA.net.